so much for joining and watching. Today I'm going to talk about gurus, specifically, just some stuff about gurus. Again, just more about ET contact and the kind of relationship that you are going to have to these ET frequencies that are coming in, and really just understanding a little bit more about that and why that's important. Yeah, so I'll just dive straight in. So I've kind of had this, information given to me, downloaded to me, just this understanding about gurus. So gurus are, insatiably important, right? We need spiritual teachers. They're super important. But I guess what I wanted to say about gurus is that the information that they are translating and interpreting and giving to you, there is still a filter within that. It's very much their interpretation of the information. So it's not absolute truth. It's just their truth. Only you will know the absolute truth when you kind of fully integrate that knowledge and you kind of have that knowing experience, that revelation, those penny drop moments. That's your absolute truth. But any information that's coming to you from another person, including me, is really just an offering, a gift of our perspectives. So any kind of guru or spiritual teacher, they're just offering and gifting you their interpretation of their experiences, and then it's really just up to you. We're just kind of like proffering ideas for you to think about, just ideas for you to chew on, and just to kind of see where that takes you and where it goes. They are very, very profound ideas. For me specifically, talking about ETs and ET relationships is so important. But I am also very, very aware that there are, much higher levels of consciousness that, other gurus talk about, which kind of gets to the perspective of, the fact that, I'm talking super high levels of consciousness where you are so aware, all of your brain filters are just completely gone, and you are kind of fully in the belly of the universe, in the womb of the universe, so to speak, and you are fully aware that, there is just one consciousness, and you kind of get to the point where very, very specifically, you are literally creating everything. You are literally creating your reality, and the fact that the universe was created by you, for you, and everyone else in their avatars are, reflections of you to allow you to have that experience, and to have also the awakening experience, to come to your own kind of enlightenment. Basically, it's a very, very, very profound level of consciousness, and that consciousness kind of basically states and says that there are no aliens, there is no nothing, there is no earth, there's no planets, there's no aliens, there's no this, there's no that, there's literally nothing. And that's the void, right? But it's more than the void. It's like past the void, where you understand that there's a void and that there's nothing but also everything, but also that you are the ultimate creator, and that even though you kind of having these crazy experiences in that that there are aliens out there and all of this kind of crazy stuff happening, you also are fully aware and know that you created that, right? This is another whole massive paradigm of understanding that you created that we have created everything in our universe, so that we can have those experiences, because that's what consciousness wanted to do. Consciousness was like basically bored. It was just so bored in its because it's just infinite love, and it was bored, and I get that. It just wanted to have experience. So it kind of created every possible experience that could possibly happen, and then we journey through that, and the goal, always the spiral of evolution, is to wake up, to who you actually really are. But basically what I want to say is that that's just a very, 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 very high level perspective. It's not, it's just a truth. It's just another truth. And, there are other perspectives that are important that we shouldn't really push aside. So, you know, because that kind of understanding can be quite nihilistic. And, you know, you don't really kind of want to be like, oh, well, I'm just not gonna, you know, if everything is just an illusion and if I create everything, then, you know, whatever. It's like, that's not really the point. You know, you're here to play the game. There's to, like, play the fucking game. Do you know what I mean? But as long as the game is coming from a place of love, because, you know, the whole, you know, waking up and enlightenment and stuff, and it's about finding that love and putting your love out into the world. How are you going to put your love into the world, right? And for me, I'm putting my love into the world by just talking about shit like this, you know? So that's, and you got to find your own way. You got to find your own way. So, you know, what I'm kind of really talking about here is understanding that these entities that we're kind of working with, they have their own point of view and their own perspective. And that is massively influencing us. And it's really on you. It's, you need to take that self-responsibility to, you know, kind of see how that's working for you, and to love that that's coming to you. You know, that's another aspect of yourself. If it's a higher consciousness, then that aspect of yourself is coming to you to help you evolve, always. And it's always from a place of love. But it is important to understand that they have these different perspectives. Do you see? So for example, I don't know, this is just a little example, but I've like never really resonated with like being a specific starseed, you know, like I'm a Pleiadian starseed, I'm a Sirius starseed, you know, like I think it's super cute that people do that, and there's no right or wrong, it's just experience, you know. But my view, my perspective on that is that that's a human need. It's a very human thing to do, to want to, you know, categorize and label yourself. That's the ego finding identity in something, right? That you know, knowing that you're a starseed and that you have all this information and you're anchoring this light, and then, but then, you know, kind of latching on to this one and having that as your identity, like I'm a Pleiadian starseed, you know. And I never did that. It never resonated with me, because it kind of, for me, it just defeated the whole point. You know, the whole point is like have this just rich experience of all these different entities, and it's just it's honestly like, it's so massive, like it's so incredibly epic, you know, the experiences of our family, of our galactic family that are coming in for us to kind of learn from, and they, you know, there's so many of them. I mean, there's just, it's, you know, it's very easy for us to be like, oh, Pleiadian, blah blah blah, but you know, ultimately it's, you know, it's kind of far more complicated. So I never, you know, would suggest labeling yourself or putting too much identity into the ET experiences that you're having and the relationships that you're having, because you are kind of just limiting yourself if you're doing that. So, you know, for me, I never put a label on it, like I'm this, I'm that, and that's allowed me to have far more open, connected experiences with other energies. Like I've connected to the Pleiadians, the Sirius energy, Arcturus, the Orion Light energy is incredible, so profound. You know, I've been able to connect with all these different multidimensional aspects of me, and what that kind of means is that I'm getting more comfortable. And what I want you to do, obviously, this is why I'm talking about it, is just to really get comfortable with the fact that you are multidimensional, and you are having a simultaneous experience as another self in these other civilizations, in these other levels, in other parts of the game, right? Do you see? It's just a game, you know, a simulation, and we have different parts of ourselves, and those parts of ourselves that we access are massively heavily influencing us. Do you see? So yeah, I guess that's kind of the main message that I want to get across, is don't be too limiting. You know, consciousness is infinite. Consciousness is infinite. Don't put conditions and limits on your experience. Open up to everything. Learn to live in multiple realities. Learn to be okay with the fact that you are existing in multiple realities at once, because you are 100,000,000%. You are not just limited to this 3D experience. This is a very, very important experience, and you came here for a reason. And, you know, just for example, I feel like this, you know, this awakening, you know, is massive. We are in a time of awakening, and I think that's why very recently I connected so strongly with the Orion Light energy, which was so profound and just incredible. Beautiful, loving energy. Oh my god. So the Orion energy, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. So the Orion energy, the Orion Light energy, represents the very, very, very profound and quick awakening that the Orion civilization went through, because they were so mired in their separateness and the intergalactic war, the pain, the suffering. It was so deep. We're talking thousands of planets and colonies at war, and the separation just got so intense and so deep that their awakening experience was massive and quick, because it was like that elastic band, that polarization was just stretching, and then bam, like just enlightened, like just awake, you know. It was like finally they just realized that they were just living in polarization, you know. They just had a massive awakening experience and became the Orion Light. And the Orion Light is basically, you know, a symbolizing that came to me, you know, just to say that that energy is on the planet. If it was, you know, if I was able to connect to it, you are able to connect to it as well. It's an energy of very, very profound transformation, very, very profound awakening, which is happening. And I encourage you to try and connect with the Orion Light, because, you know, there's a lot of kind of, you know, neggy, maybe, judgment around the Orions. But, you know, again, don't mire yourself in the details. Know that the awakening has already happened, you know, that we just have to kind of flow. But don't, you know, if you feel a lot of energy behind, you know, speaking your truth, then always do that, you know. Always be authentically you and speak your truth, always, as long as it's coming from a place of love. But just kind of have that higher knowing and that higher resonance that absolutely everything is going to be okay, and that people will awaken, because it's absolutely just necessary, and it's just part of the process, you know, and it can't be kind of postponed anymore. Okay, so anyway, so I've rambled for ages about that, but anyway, thank you so much for listening. Again, like, please reach out to me if you feel called, like you want to have a galactic reading. I'd absolutely love helping people connect to these realms, because the lessons are so profound and incredible, life-changing stuff. So yeah, thank you so much. I love you, and I'll speak to you really soon.